No, we can't. We tried.
So I guess I don't need to move when I'm talking either, do I?
Not really.
Okay. Tell me when, please. Good evening. My name is Kevin Shields, as publisher of the Clayton Tribune. I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 Republican primary debate for the Board of Education, Post 5, between Ms. Sherry Faircloth and Ms. Molly Lima. I'll be your moderator this evening. Our panelists are Clark Bird, editor of the Clayton Tribune, and Cricket Werkheiser. The format for tonight is in the traditional format. In order to provide as much information as possible, candidates have been given a 1-minute time limit on all answers, opening statements, and closing statements. 30 seconds will be given for rebuttals if the situation arises. We will now begin with our opening statement from Ms. Molly Lima.
Hi, my name is Molly Lima. I want to thank you all so much for coming out here tonight and for all of the support that I have received as well. Also, thank you to our hosts, the Clayton, and to building strong partnerships to find the best results for our children. I hope to earn your trust and your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Faircloth?
Hi, I'm Cherie Faircloth. I'm also running for School Board Post 5. I'm running because I don't think that anyone needs to be holding an elected office for 16 years. Many of our school board members have been serving for that long, and I believe that can lead to questionable circumstances in some cases. I'm also running because I want to encourage everyone to become involved in your community local governments. I'm running on accountability, transparency. Those are two broad terms, but I think it's time that we become very fiscally aware and fiscally responsible for these SPLOST dollars that we're spending. I want to see school safety improved. I believe in accountability. I want to see fair hire practices for teachers. And I also want to make sure that the teachers inside the classroom are taken care of with their salaries.
Thank you. Clark, first question, please.
This question's for both candidates. What from your past experiences qualifies you for a position on the Board of Education?
Ms. Faircloth?
I have a strong stance on education. I am a single parent. I raised my daughter and put her through school. And I've seen bad schools and good schools, and Rabun County certainly has a very good school system on the inside of the schools as well as the infrastructure. I have a degree in public health as well as a BA in psychology. I've been a journalist and in marketing and advertising for over 25 years. So I do bring some of those skill sets to the table. I've also been very involved in every form of local government, no matter where I live, because I believe it's important that if you live in a community, it's your duty and responsibility to hold your elected officials accountable. And that's what I would like to see happen here with the school board, is that we need to take a closer look at the school board and what they are doing up there.
Ms. Lima?
I think the great thing about politics that makes us all able to run for these positions is that it is a public position. So again, putting the public back in government and putting somebody who's a parent with children going through the school district for many, many years to come, I think will serve us well in the fact that, again, it goes back to that diversity that's so lacking in the school board right now. I do have a background in law enforcement. I have a lot of connections with law enforcement. So as far as the safety aspect of our schools and school security, etc., I have a lot of experience there that I can bring to the school board in working in a partnership with local law enforcement, even all the way up to the federal law enforcement level. It's very important to remember that it's not just our local law enforcement that will respond when an incident occurs. It's all the way up to the ATF that will be responding potentially. So it's very important that we are building these partnerships between the community, parents, all of the stakeholders, etc.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. We'll now turn to the next question to Cricket Workizer.
What is your specific top priority for the Board of Education, and how will you accomplish it?
Ms. Lima.
My top priority is transparency, and this goes into every other aspect, so it's sort of a blanket statement. I apologize for that, but truly, I think that it all begins with transparency. We have so many different stakeholders here involved, with the parents needing to know what's going on in their schools, needing to have a say, with the taxpayers needing to know what exactly their money is going to, and having a say in that. I think that there's a huge lack of communication and transparency that's going on in our school board right now, and with this good old boy or secret society environment, it just breeds some negative feelings with all of the stakeholders. And I think that with that transparency, you solve so many issues. Communication is so very, very important, especially when this is the public's board here. We're not in this just for ourselves. This is us serving the public.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. Ms. Faircloth.
Outside of my desire to see more of our community members involved in their local government, and certainly the school board definitely needs that kind of involvement, my top priority is to take a close look at the SPLOST funding that has been rolling since 1997. We're moving into our 5th cycle of SPLOST. We have a beautiful school system. The infrastructure is great. SPLOST funding, of course, goes to capital improvements. Also retiring municipal bond debt from previous SPLOST for building. And there's just, we need to take a look at the SPLOST. We need to ask, why do we continue to fund SPLOST cycle after cycle after cycle? What else do we need in the way of building and infrastructure? In fact, in some of my research, there is a Standard & Poor's press release.
Ms. Faircloth, you've reached your time.
Thank you. Well, I've got it.
Clark.
Ms. Faircloth, this question's for you. You've outlined a plan to boost school security that includes adding school resource officers and external cameras on school buses. What is your plan for paying for these security upgrades?
I believe that, again, the local dollars that we do control within that $25 million school budget, I do believe that there has to be some category there that would allow for improving school security, and that would include salaries of additional school resource officers. Some of that cost is, I believe, shouldered by the Sheriff's Department, and then there's some contribution by the school board as well. And I would like to see, there's a lot of safety features that can be put into the classrooms to lock those classrooms down quickly, as well as the front offices. And that, I believe, would fall under some of this SPLOST spending, since it's capital improvements, renovations, hardware, etc. I believe that we could find the money to make those schools safer. Right, as it is, we're sitting right on 441. It's an easy access to all of our children in one place right now.
Thank you. Ms. Workizer?
For Ms. Lima. What plans would you work on to enact school security upgrades, and how would you pay for them?
I agree with Cherie. There's got to be a lot of the budget that can be trimmed down in certain areas if we really get in there and look at it. And I think that it's important that we don't think that ourselves, we have all the answers. I think that it's very important that we all reach out to develop focus groups and to ask other people what their ideas are as well, and to be a listening ear to those ideas. And where can you cut down, school bus routes? Where can we do any sort of trimming off fat that we can? And that can certainly be devoted into improving our school security. I think that we need to look at other aspects as well, such as looking into retired police officers that might want to just volunteer their services into the schools. And the liability there is less so than arming teachers and hardware, etc.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. Clark?
This question's for both candidates. The Committee to Eliminate Rabun County School Tax Burden on Seniors and Disabled Persons is petitioning for signatures to get their measure on the ballot for the county's voters. If the voters opted to allow the exemption, would you advocate budget cuts or increased property taxes, and why?
Ms. Faircloth?
It's the tax, the way that I understand it. I am not associated with this group. I have followed what they're doing some, but it's my understanding that this is not an elimination of a tax, but simply a tax shift, and a very small one at that. So I don't see that there would be a need to increase taxes. I believe that in the state of Georgia, where 90 to 100 counties in Georgia already have this exemption for seniors, I don't understand why our Board of County Commissioners is so adamant that this doesn't go on the ballot for a vote. I don't understand that. I believe that we really do need to have a chance to say whether or not we want to see this tax exist, or this tax exemption exist.
Thank you, Mr. Faircloth. Ms. Lima?
I agree with Ms. Cherie about what she said. It should come down to the public voting on whether or not the public wants to allow this tax break. And I agree, it sounds like it's not actually a break so much as just a tax shift. So if it is just shifted, it's going to be a tax increase for some of us, absolutely. But luckily, we all get a vote. So that's the great thing about this, is that we can all voice our opinions and we can all vote on it, and whomever prevails, and we will find a way and we will deal with it, because budgets change every single year. It's not an unheard of thing. So you make do with what you have, and if you have to get creative, then you get creative. But I don't foresee asking for a tax increase other than just the shift that would inevitably happen as a result.
Thank you. Ms. Morkaiser?
You spoke of not wanting to change Rabun County. You love it as it is, and that is why you moved here. How can you advocate no change when progress demands change?
Ms. Lima? That question, I think, was directed to you.
Okay. Saying there's no change is a little bit different than advocating. I don't want to see Rabun County ever turn into what Colorado has become. We do absolutely have to stay with the current times. We have to give our kids the chance to grow up in a world that is inevitably going to change, and they have to keep up with that. We have to keep up with that. However, Rabun County is a very unique demographic here. We do have a lot of retired people, so it might slow that down and might not change quite as rapidly. But what I would really like to say never, ever, ever want to see is the legalization of marijuana in Georgia for recreational use, because it absolutely changed Colorado like that. Now they've got 10,000 people moving in every single month to the state that I once knew, and it's a completely different state. So I don't want that to happen here. I don't know that I'll have any chance to keep marijuana from becoming legal, but
Thank you. Thank you. Clark?
Ms. Faircloth, this question's for you. Your child attended Rabun-Gavnacucci School. You have stated that you intend to eventually run for a Rabun County Board of Commissioners seat. What is your investment to the Rabun County Board of Education?
I want to see the Board of Education become accountable to the citizens, tax-paying citizens. I want to see the school board opened up, and I want to see transparency. My commitment to the school board is no different than my commitment to, if I am able to run for the Board of County Commission. Basically, I want to see transparency come to the community. I want to see accountability. And again, I'm gonna, the SPLOST taxes really are concerning and need to be looked at more carefully before we vote for yet another cycle after this one is completed. My commitment is to have, I want to see everything fair for taxpayers as well as our kids and the teachers. I mean, there needs to be a balance. That's what I want to bring.
Thank you, Ms. Faircloth.
This question is for both of you. What is your view on standardizing testing accountability for students and teachers?
Ms. Faircloth.
Well, the current pressure that comes in the classroom on both the teachers and students is horrendous from what my research tells me. Standardized testing, the pressure teachers have that, their jobs are on the line if they don't perform, if the kids don't perform a certain way. The kids are really stressed out year after year, mentally and physically over these tests. I don't think that that's fair. I think that, in fact, Obama just did away last year with the No Child Left Behind. That has opened up the state to become more flexible in their decision to continue with Common Core and standardized testing. So the state of Georgia does have the ability to say no to Common Core. There's a lot of money attached to these programs.
Thank you, Ms. Faircloth. Ms. Lima?
Well, this is a lot longer than a 1-minute question that I feel very, very passionately about. So I'm going to try to squeeze it in as quickly as I can. But basically, standardized testing has just done this spiral to our country, and it has tanked us big time. So we have now a teacher dropout crisis, where 47% of our teachers are leaving the teaching career after 5 years. We have one of the lowest rates of people enrolled in colleges and universities going into the education field because they don't want to deal with it. We have people, friends of mine on Facebook, last week were talking about how their kids were vomiting, not sleeping. People were recommending psychiatrists to people's children because of what these tests are doing. So not only that, but then we also have the focus shift that occurred from teaching all sorts of things to teaching to the test. That's where the money went, and it opened the door for us to forget about school security as well. And I have a quote that I would love to tell you guys, but I'm out of time, so see me afterwards.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. Art?
Question is for both candidates. What has your research into this position revealed to you about local school salaries in comparison to similar sized and neighboring school districts?
Ms. Lima.
We pay very competitively, I'll say. We have a very high salary, it seems like, for at least 9 of our school employees. I said it before in the last debate for the GOP. I think that it is very important that we do recruit the best talent that we can. Not only do we recruit the best talent that we can, they in turn will recruit the best teachers, and we can retain the best teachers. That's great for our economy as a whole. Where it gets a little bit tricky is when you meet with people and they literally shed tears because their family, who works for the school district, is trying to scrape enough money together every single couple of weeks, month, just to make their mortgage payment, let alone, put food on their table. So there's a balance that it's hard to look at.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. Ms. Faircloth?
This is one of my favorite subjects, as I've done the research. In one of the Clayton Tribune articles dated March the 6th, 2014, regarding the Georgia Power assessed property value as it relates to school taxes, etc. Before Matt Arthur left his position as superintendent, I believe that was in 2014 or 2015, he stated in this particular article that 85% of the school board's budget goes to pay personnel. Now, that's a lot. That's an awful lot. And again, that's directly out of the Clayton Tribune. There are administrative salaries that I would love to see scrutinized. I would love for somebody to go in and tell me why we need 2 assistant principals in the elementary, 2 assistant principals in the primary. Why do we need so many people in the tech department? We've got assistant techs and IT techs coming out of our ears. We're paying these people. 85% of the school board's budget goes to pay personnel.
Thank you, Ms. Faircloth.
That's no matter.
Ms. Workheiser?
This is a question for both of you. If you suggest change for school salaries, what specifically would you propose?
Ms. Faircloth?
When you say school salaries, I'm assuming that you're including administrative as well as teacher salaries. First of all, teacher salaries are mandated by the state of Georgia. If the state says pay a math teacher $40,000, you pay a math teacher $40,000, and they do assist in that payment. However, we do add local supplements onto teacher salaries, and those are earned based on their responsibilities, their educational level, etc. I would just, I'd like to see us gain more control over the administrative salaries. That's what I think is out of control. A 9 out of 10 of the salary in the Tribune, 9 out of 10 of those top paid salaries in the county, I believe this is the fact, basically is all the school board.
Thank you, Ms. Faircloth. Clark?
This question is for both candidates. The most recent educational SPLOST, which provides $19 million in funding for Rabun County schools, was passed by 67% of the voters in March 2015. What is your view of the continued use of this tax?
Ms. Faircloth?
Okay, the SPLOST dollars, again, as I have looked at everything, I continue to be troubled by SPLOST spending. We are now in our 5th cycle, as I mentioned. We are going to construct a ag tech building, and we're going to renovate a cafeteria that, in my understanding, that cafeteria is less than or around 5 years old. Meanwhile, as I started to say earlier, I found a press release dated 2/12/2016 from Standard & Poor, where the Rabun County Building Authority and the Rabun County School District bond notes have been downgraded from AA- to A+. Now, this is very technical. I won't go into it. It's available on the internet. But bottom line, we have runaway spending. SPLOST dollars are specific.
Finish your sentence, please.
However, when we are borrowing from one SPLOST to pay off bond notes on an earlier SPLOST, you have to question that.
Thank you, Ms. Faircloth. Ms. Lima, I do believe we skipped you on if you suggest change for school salaries. What specifically would you propose? Would you like to answer that now?
Yes. That, again, is a question that I don't think that I should be the one person to answer. Of course, this is a debate, so that's kind of what we're here for. But I think that doing focus groups and talking to the public, talking to the people that are working in the schools, talking to other school districts surrounding us, seeing what they do, seeing what works well, seeing where they can reduce some of the spending, be it the higher salaried people, then I think that we all need to look at that very, very seriously, because it does seem like there are some excessive salaries. But again, we need to pull in the public back into our public schools and make these decisions ones that we can all be happy with, that the teachers are happy with, the administration's happy with, the parents, and the community.
Thank you, Ms. Lehman. The question that was just posed. The most recent educational splosh, which provides $19 million in funding for Rabun County schools, was passed by 67% of the voters in March 2015. What is your view of the continued use of this tax?
As a Republican, tax is kind of like, just hearing the word is sort of like nails on a chalkboard to me, just because that's who I am as a Republican. However, if it's something that is justifiable, then yeah, we take it to the voters. And again, put the public back into our public schools and let these voters decide if they're going to pay these tax dollars to these projects. What I have come to understand from people who actually work in that cafeteria in the high school is that it's basically like an oven in there. There's not great working conditions. So if that's something that really is going on, then yeah, we need to look at that. But again, we have to look at this. We have to make wise decisions. If we're going to come to the public and ask for tax dollars to be, coming in, then we need to be able to justify why we're asking for your hard-earned money.
Thank you, Ms. Lehman. That concludes the question part of this. Now, as the order drew by straws, for closing statements, we will first go to Ms. Lima.
Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for the Tribune, and thank you to Cherie for a great debate. I hope that you were all able to hear a lot of great information. Of course, these 1-minute talking points, it's really hard for us to get our information out there. So I ask that you all go to my campaign page. It is a Facebook page because if I'm going to preach fiscal responsibility, my own campaign expenditures are going to be as frugal as possible, and it's free. So you can still go to the Facebook page even if you do not have a Facebook account. It's Facebook.com/Molly Lima Rabun, BOE. And I really encourage you all to contact us, to ask us questions, to call us, to email us. Thank you so much again for all of the support that I've received. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Lima. Ms. Fairclough?
In closing, very short and sweet, I want your vote. I really do. Because again, I believe that I have what it takes to go into that school board and open it up to the public. Accountability, transparency, and improved school safety are the biggest, planks of my platform. And I encourage every one of you to attend the school board meeting that's coming up this Thursday at 5:30. No, it's my understanding that no one enters that school board building to attend a meeting, and that has to change if we want these other things to change as well. The SPLOST spending is extremely troubling. If you do a lot of research, if you look online, you will see that it's troubling. We need to correct that, and we need to ask questions and establish committees, oversight committees on SPLOST spending, as Glenn County has.
Thank you, Ms. Fairclough. This concludes the Clayton Tribune's debate for Board of Education Post 5. We'd like to say special thanks to Ms. Cherie Fairclough and Ms. Molly Lima for their participation. Special thanks to panelists Cricket Werkheiser and Clark Bird and our live audience and those viewing our live stream. There will now be a short 15-minute break with the Clayton Tribune's debate for Rabun County Sheriff beginning at 6:15. Thank you, candidates. Where are my ad reps?
Look, I didn't realize you were talking to the replacement of Blake.
Yep.
I spoke to the commissioners back in May a year ago about the tax values not in by July 1st, the utilities, they don't do it till the end of the year. And it's 30% of the total bill. I don't know whether you remember that now.
Yeah.
But you wrote in the paper what I said. That was the first time that's happened since I've been here. Okay.
Yeah, you can hear him
Okay.
really well.
I at the time didn't know who did it. I know that. That was the first time I read an article about they never did that. It's awful.
Okay, so what's going on is the embed isn't working. So I went ahead and I just posted the link to it in our Facebook, and we got up to 11 people watching. Now it looks like the feed's frozen when it's supposed to transition back across. But
So the embeds, it was
the embed's not working yet.
Certain ones are, certain ones aren't.
Yes, it's on. Okay, the stream is live.
We lost them all. Debbie, find Sissy. Sissy, we've lost them all. While she's doing that, we're just gonna get.
Yeah, the stream is live.
Okay, we're gonna really speak really loud, which is not a problem for me. So, tell me when you're ready. Okay. Once again, some of you have heard this, all of you haven't. My name is Kevin Shields, as publisher of the Clayton Tribune. I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 Republican primary debate for Rabun County Sheriff between Sheriff Frank Andrews and Challenger Chad Nichols. I will be your moderator this evening. Our panelists are Clark Burt, editor of the Clayton Tribune, and Cricket Werkheiser, community extraordinaire. We ask you. The format for tonight is traditional format. In order to provide as much information as possible, candidates have been given a 1-minute time limit on all answers, opening statements, and closing statements. Should the need arise or the situation arise, 30 seconds will be given for rebuttals. With all that said, we'll begin with our opening statements. Sheriff Frank Andrews.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody that's gathered here this evening. It's an important time for the county. I really appreciate being elected to serve as your sheriff for the past 2 terms. This is a responsibility I take very seriously. Your safety is my priority. But most of all, I want to take the time to thank you for being able to gather to help us to look at our county, make sure that both of us are doing the right job. When we get in, we have to be elected into office to serve the people. We are going to serve the people. I also want to thank you and take the opportunity and thank everyone for their support. And I ask for your support and for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
Good evening. My name is Chad K. Nichols. I'm a Republican candidate to be your sheriff. The minute to kind of tell you a bit about me, I'm married to Dr. Jamie Nichols, who is a school teacher here in our school system. I have a 5-year-old daughter, Jocelyn Nichols. I started my law enforcement career here in Rabun County in 1998 at the Sheriff's Department, working in the jail, worked my way up into the Sheriff's Department, up to patrol sergeant. And in 2009 was offered a position to Clayton Police, and I worked there until I ran last time. After the last election, I knew I needed to grow professionally, so I talked it over with my family, and there was just no options locally. So I applied at the city of Baldwin and was hired the assistant chief, and a month and a half later, I was promoted to chief. And I've put in a lot of work in the 2 years there. And recently, at the 2-year mark, just applied for our agency to be state certification, state certified. So I ask for your vote on May 24th.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. We'll now begin the questions with Cricket Werkheiser.
This is going to be a question. This thing doesn't work. This is going to be a question for both candidates. What is your law enforcement experience, and how has that prepared you to serve as sheriff of Rabun County?
Sheriff Andrews.
Okay. I attended the police academy in 1994. After that, I was working for the city of Cornelia. Got an opportunity to go to the city of Baldwin to serve as assistant chief. Then I also took over the chief's job for 7 years. Had the opportunity to become chief of the city of Cornelia, which has an agency size real close to the same size as the road end of our agency. I've got 15 years of law enforcement executive experience. I've been in law enforcement for 22 years. But prior to that, I was in business for myself for 16 years, so I have management experience there as well.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
My law enforcement career, like I said a minute ago, started out in 1998 here at the Sheriff's Department, where I worked in the jail and pretty much have worked in almost every division within the Sheriff's Department. So I have the experience of actually working below a sheriff level. So, you know, I've served papers, I've took people to jail for DUI, I've worked security in the courtroom. So I have that working experience from the Sheriff's Department, and then I've got 2 years under my belt as a chief because I needed that management experience. Those 2 years have been full of a lot of experiences. When I came in at Baldwin, they actually laid off the entire police department, started new. So I've been tasked with rebuilding the police department from the ground up. And I'm proud of what we've done there. Like I said, within 2-year anniversary mark, I've applied for our agency to be state certified. So I feel like I've got the necessary experience.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Clark.
This question is for both candidates. Within the current school year, the Sheriff's Office responded to a bomb threat at Rabun County High School. Given the increased threats to schools nationwide, what do you believe is the Sheriff's Office responsibility in ensuring the safety of Rabun County students?
Mr. Nichols.
Yes, bomb threat, that was something that was brought up by talking out to the community and the concerns of the community. I did some checking into that. I read the story in the paper where Habersham County Sheriff's Office brought their bomb detection dog up to assist. But what I didn't see was where other agencies might have come into play. I did file Open Records Act with the Rabun County 911. They were never notified when the bomb incident occurred, so there's no record at our 911 center that it occurred, and there was no fire agency dispatch, and there was no ambulances dispatched to the scene. So that's concerning to me, and I think that's areas we need to work together, school system, police agencies, all these different agencies, to be prepared when a threat happens, and then, Lord forbid, a disaster would have occurred.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Sheriff Andrews.
We planned a long time ago, whenever I got in office, when I first got elected, we had an opportunity to get a bomb dog. It was provided to us by Homeland Security. That was a 100% grant, which we implemented this program into place. Our bomb dog was there as well. We requested Habersham to bring theirs so that we could cut the time in half in the search. The time we were notified that there was a threat issue, well then, I'm not exact on the exact time, but within about 15 minutes, we had at least 8 to 10 officers there. The kids were moved to a safe place. They were moved out to the stadium area. This is thanks to our school board for their pre-planning. So, you know, we have made the extra effort to plan for disasters.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Ms. Workheiser.
This question is for Sheriff Andrews. What programs have you implemented that you believe have had the most impact in Rabun County?
One of the biggest ones is, I think, our Citizens Academy we've put in place. This is to educate our citizens to how the judicial system works. And we bring every agency in. We bring in the police departments. We invite them to come speak. We bring the coroner in. We bring the Superior Court judge, our judges, our district attorney's office. We also bring in our magistrate court and the probate court. And it's to help us to understand how the judicial system works. That way, when you have to serve for jury duty, you can fully understand how everything works. One of our others is our CHAMPS program that we brought in that has been initiated through the Georgia Sheriff's Association. It helps deal with drug abuse or educational and drug abuse, any hazard that could possibly could approach a kid.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Clerk.
Okay. Mr. Nichols, this question's for you. What is your number one priority for the sheriff's office, and what is the timeline for desired results?
The number one priority I see from this grand scheme of thing is to first stop the turnover. I mean, the turnover that we have here, you know, like in the last debate, it was almost 90 people left. Well, that's a trickle down effect. If you're all the time training new people and getting that less experience there, that trickles down to the deputies getting out, maybe making drug cases, to work it to actually move on up to make more drug cases. So I think the new leadership that would, you know, stop the retention and keep our turnover rate low will be the biggest obstacle to stop, and then to keep and build on that and build a better department, more efficient and more responsive department.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Ms. Wertheiser.
This is a question for both of you. With almost 90 employees leaving the sheriff's department over the past 7 years, what would you do in this next term to reduce the turnover rate?
Mr. Nichols.
Yes, like I said, almost the 90 employees has been an issue, and the thing, I'm sorry, what was the question? I got sidetracked.
With 90 employees leaving the sheriff's department over the last 7 years, what would you do in this next term to reduce the turnover rate?
Okay, I think the main thing is to empower the employees to feel like they're a part of a team, and to get them all working together for the betterment of the department and the county. I think the issue of the pay and the benefits is not an issue. I think it comes down to leadership and how the employees feel like they're treated. Just the fact that about a third of those have left since January 1st, that's when the new raise took effect that the county approved countywide. So I think the leadership will fix it, and just empowering employees to feel like they're a part of the team and work towards common goal.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Sheriff Andrews.
The statement of 90 employees doesn't reflect the fact that 29 of these employees were part-time. Part-time is part-time. It is not figured on a permanent base. Part-time means that officers are there working a second job. So that brings it down to 61. I have researched, I have called Habersham County, Towns County, Stevens County, and Madison County. Habersham County told me they've had 92 employees leave. They keep a full-time base. They don't have part-time. Towns County told me 69 people left. They don't have part-time. Stevens County is 108 have left. They don't work part-time. Madison County was 111. So this is an epidemic that is hitting law enforcement all over. This is not just isolated to this area.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Clark.
This question is for both candidates. Do you believe the sheriff's office is adequately funded? Why or why not?
Sheriff Andrews.
There's times that we do need more equipment. There's times that we need better benefits for our people. People can say that the insurance is not an issue. The family coverage insurance per pay period is $406.49. So it makes it $880.73 when you figure it about a month. Now that's hitting it pretty hard. Is it going to solve everybody's problem? Is it going to keep everybody there? No. But law enforcement in itself is going to have it's having a major turnover everywhere. Yes, I would love to see more employees added on. I'd like to be able to cover the county more, but I've also got to stay within the guidelines of the budget that the commissioners will issue to us after we apply for it.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
Can you repeat the question?
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. Question is, do you believe the sheriff's office is adequately funded? Why or why not?
I think the budget that is there is definitely workable, manageable. I feel like there's some restructuring of some of the positions that I don't feel is necessary. I mean, we have our own style, so I don't think some of the positions I have is necessary. So I would like to see the non-essential ones, or maybe the ones that's overkill, to move to the road to get more officers on the road, to be more officers out here patrolling. It's only 2 deputies on it at a given time. That's just not enough personnel, I don't believe, for this community. So I'd take some of the positions that are there and reorganize and move them to the patrol division.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Ms. Werkheiser.
This is a question for both of you. What do you see as the biggest need for the sheriff's office?
Mr. Nichols.
Biggest need, I feel, for the sheriff's office would be to, and I keep coming back to it, but fixing the turnover problem. The biggest need is to keep the employees, but then, like I said a minute ago, is to get more employees out on patrol, out on the street. That's where I feel like the biggest need is to get more officers, deputies out here, and then take the county that we live in, divide it into sections, and assign an officer to that particular zone or area of the county where they're familiar with that area. They get to build a bond with the community. I would like to see a sheriff's office where that person in that zone, when they rode up, they'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Nichols, how are you?" And you know that officer by name. So that's what I think is one of the bigger needs is more deputies out on patrol.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Sheriff Andrews.
Repeat your question, please.
What do you see as the biggest need for the sheriff's office?
Biggest need, and I keep coming back to this, we need assistance to help our officers who do not have family coverage insurance. And we need to get our pay up to where we can stay close. And I know we're never gonna get up to what some of the cities pay. But to be able to do that, you know, we need to implement that and put it in place. We're currently we have applied for our certification. We are currently training for our certification. We are well on its way, and as soon as this gets through, it's gonna have our officers who are gonna be better trained. We must be doing a pretty good job on it because surrounding cities keep coming after our officers as well. So, that's it.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Clerk.
Okay, this question is for both candidates. What do you feel is the largest criminal concern facing Rabun County?
Sheriff Andrews.
It relates to drugs. Every crime around here pretty well relates to drugs. We have issues when it comes on the national level. They can't contain it, so it bleeds right on over to us. Criminal activities are up all through the nation. It's not just in the mountain areas. Thefts are up. Why? Because they want to get the money to buy their drugs. That was the purpose of us joining a 7-county task force, to get us a little more manpower in here. They require a lot of training to get the officers ready to, to get out to start working this area. Another area is, and it's not really a criminal area, but is mental health. Mental health has caused an increase in some of the crimes.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
Same question.
Yes.
I would say that the largest criminal element plaguing our county is probably drugs. Being out talking to people that their family has been affected by drugs. One family was telling me, heroin is here. I had never imagined that heroin's here in Rabun County, but it's here. We need to Meth, of course, is a problem, but also prescription medication. You know, that's ruined a lot of people here. So we've got to really work with, like the sheriff said, the Appalachian Regional Drug Enforcement Office. But we need to be doing our part here. We need to have good experienced officers that get out here and look for signs of drugs. We need to educate our community on what to look for, what the drug dealers, you know, what to look for, where they can call, who they can call. So we got to offer, you know, many things to where it all work out together.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Ms. Wertheiser.
This is a question for both of you, a rather long one. Given the stated concerns of Judge Rusty Smith, former DA Brian Rickman, and Representative Doug Collins regarding Rabun County's lack of mental health services, which has led to repeat offenders and repeated arrests, what do you propose as a solution or remedy?
Mr. Nichols.
Mental health is a big issue, as I've seen where I work now. It's everywhere, not just here, but in Habersham as well. We got to start a dialogue with these doctors. We have some great doctors in this community. Get them to provide training. There's GBI has just started and brought out some training that's available, week-long crisis intervention, where you may one day had went to a residence and locked somebody up. Now they look to show you the signs and maybe how to de-escalate that situation and handle it differently than just locking people up. So I think it's going to take a partnership with state agencies, local doctors. You know, I'm not afraid to ask for assistance on this because I'm no medical doctor, but I know there is mental health issues. And as a sheriff, we need to be assisting those as well because we deal a lot with people, whether, you know, from too much drug abuse or from meth situations.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Sheriff Andrews.
There is an issue with mental health in Rabun County, but it's everywhere. We have incarcerated probably 25% of our people that are incarcerated have got mental health issues. This year's budget, I have requested to have our health care provider to assist us in this. When the state closed down a lot of our centers, they dumped it right back on the counties. And this is something that we knew that was going to happen once they started shutting them down. The state said, it's yours to deal with now. Basically, is what has come out. Our healthcare provider is going to gave us a price on providing a nurse for a minimum of 30 hours to deal with our mental health issues. This is the first step. We have also worked with Benchmark, who has assisted us in this area as well.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Clark.
This question is for both candidates. What are your views on transparency within the department for the press and the public?
Sheriff Andrews.
I believe transparency is necessary. We have to have that. We provide open records to any of the press or the public, providing we can release certain information. We have guidelines that we have to go by, but we also, if I have a criminal investigation and it involves an officer, after the internal investigation is over with, I bring forth and have the press to look at it because they're entitled to it, the same as anyone else. If there's a criminal investigation on an officer and you want to look and you want to see what has happened, you're entitled to that. We don't hide anything. We deal with social media to try to update, like missing persons or any other crime that we need assistance with.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
Transparency with the government office, you know, that's a no-brainer. You are transparent with what all you do to the public. You know, a lot of I can remember a former sheriff I worked for a long time. He always said the newspaper course, that's all we have really available here besides the radio, is your friend. We gotta use them. They help us solve crimes. They help us get information out there. But also when it's bad, he said, when you get into that position, he said, you call them, you give them the heads up, say, let's do a story. And he said, hopefully by the next edition, they've forgotten about it. So that's the way, I mean, that's the way I am in Habersham now, whatever. I'm put it on the forefront, get the information out there, and, you know, have a great relation with Christina Asante, the editor at Northeast Georgia. So, you know, being transparent, no issues here at all.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Ms. Mortizer.
This is a question for both of you. What is your view of the sheriff's office role in working with the various other law enforcement agencies serving Rabun County?
Mr. Nichols.
That, you know, I'm all for it. That should be given as well. We're all out here on the same team, trying to accomplish the same goal, whether it's the PD, the sheriff's office assisting the PD, or a PD helping assist the sheriff's office. We're all out here for the same common goal, the same common good, and we're all out here for the betterment of our city or our county. So, you know, that should be given. That's the way. When I worked here in the county, when I was here, that happened. Now at my job here, we all work great together. So, you know, I don't know it really no other way than not getting along and everyone working for the betterment of our community.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Sheriff Andrews.
That's a definite. We have to work close with the local police departments. Any training that we have, we offer it. If they want to come take it, they're welcome to it. Or they have offered training and we have done as well. We have to respond to each other. There's times that the cities respond to us and assist us, and then we respond to them as well. There's times when our cities need help with investigations. Some of our agencies do not, or some of our departments do not have investigators. We provide assistance with that. We help them with it. And the ones that do have investigators, they get in a spot, we help them with that. So it's a given. We're all here to do the same thing. We're all here to serve the same community. We're all here to serve our citizens in this county. So, you know, we definitely have to continue to work together.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Now it's time for closing statements as drawn straws at our office. Sheriff Andrews will begin with his closing statement.
As I said at the beginning, you know, I really want to thank all of you for this opportunity to serve as your sheriff. You know, like I said before, your safety is our priority, but it's also our duty to serve. And our office has worked diligently for the past 2 terms to serve this county. I have a trifold that has the programs that we have put into place since I've been in office. And we have served this community and will continue to serve this community. There's some great programs in here. Also, this trifold has my 7-point platform. I keep a copy of this on my desk, of which I look at every day to remind me of the oath that I took and to remind me that I owe this to the people of this county. So I ask for your support and your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff Andrews. Mr. Nichols.
I would like to thank the Clayton Tribune for this opportunity to be here and connect with our community. These are nerve-wracking, but they're also good because we can connect and tell how we feel our platform would fit the county the best. You know, I'm on bring it back to that 90 employees. You know, I think for us to move forward, we got to fix that problem. I think that's leadership. And I think, you know, we've both, I brought up mine the last debate, Sheriff. He countered today, and I just want people to not take our word for it, not take the sheriff's word for it, not take my word for it, but get out and ask these officers out here why they left. There's several in the crowd here tonight. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to any of you. If not, call on the phone. But I thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited, and please, I'm asking for your vote on May 24th.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. This concludes the Clayton Tribune's debate for Rabun County Sheriff. We would like to thank Sheriff Andrews and Mr. Nichols for their participation. Special thanks to panelists Cricket Werkheiser and Clark Bird and our live overflowing the room audience and those viewing our live stream at home. There will now be a short 15-minute break with the Clayton Tribune's debate for Rabun County Commissioner. That's a good way to end it. 15 minutes, Commissioner Post 1.
All right, the live stream is back up, so we're
About ready?
we'll be ready.
Yeah, I still got about 20 seconds, or 40 seconds.
Well, that's enough time to get this back on. He's gonna have. Well, I think the mics are back. That's good.
Ready? We up? You need me on this one because you moved the camera. Good evening.
Here we go again.
Oh wait, no. Let me switch out. Good evening. For those of you who sat through this before, I apologize, but we're also talking to our live audience and anybody new who's came in. My name is Kevin Shields, as publisher of the Clayton Tribune. I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 Republican primary debate for Rabun County Commissioner Post 1 between incumbent Will Nichols, challengers Tony Allred and Brett Cohey. I will be your moderator this evening, and our panelists will be Clark Burt, editor of the Clayton Tribune, and Cricket Werkheiser, community extraordinaire. The format for tonight is in the traditional format. In order to provide as much information as possible, candidates have been given a 1-minute time limit on all answers, opening statements, and closing statements. If the need should arise or the situation arise, 30 seconds will be given for rebuttals. We will begin with opening statements. Mr. Allred.
Thank you very much. And first off, I'd like to thank the Clayton Tribune for hosting this event tonight. It's great that so many citizens came out. I was afraid that after the sheriffs, you guys would all leave, but I'm glad that some of you stayed. My name is Tony Allred. I am president of the Rabun County Chamber of Commerce, and I do seek this position. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about my background. I was born here in Rabun County, right here in Clayton, as a matter of fact. My dad hauled us away from here after World War II, so I didn't have the opportunity to grow up here very much, but I have spent a lot of time. We spent all my summers here with my grandmother, and we came back frequently. This has always been my home. My brother laid half the carpet in Rabun County, I think, and my Uncle Charles opened the package store up toward Sky Valley and helped start Valley Fire Department. So we have a lot of history here, and I say that to let you know that it is truly something that I love. This place is unbelievably good, and I want to make it even better. What do I believe in? I believe in fair and open government. I believe that the people's voice should be heard, and I believe that there is really no limit to what can be done if we work together and if we don't care who gets the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Allred. Mr. Nichols.
Well, I am county commissioner for Post 1 at this time. Learned a lot over the last 7 years. Enjoyed being county commissioner. Love to have an opportunity to serve one more time. I'd love to have an opportunity to serve one more time. Love the county. Been here all my life. My wife, children's here. I just love being a part of Rabun County and want to make it a better place. And doing that through being a county commissioner.
Mr. Cohey.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank again the city of Clayton for hosting this event along with the Clayton Tribune. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight because this is about you. This is your voice and your government. And it's great to see great attendance out here. A little bit about me. Came to Rabun County when I was 6 months old. My mom came here to work in Burlington, at the Burlington plant. Went to elementary school at Tiger Elementary until 4th through 6th got moved to Clayton Elementary. We're sitting in the library where I used to go and look at books. And Buff Green used to chase me down through those hallways through there many times. I am a 2002 graduate of Rabun County High School. Many of you guys, if you turn on Sky 96.3 on a Friday night, you're going to hear my voice. I'm the voice of the Wildcats. I am voted vice chair of the Rabun County Republican Party. That I resigned to run for this office. I'm a former vice chair of the Clayton-Bacon Water Authority and member of the Rabun County Water Authority. And I look forward to speaking some issues with these guys tonight. And I'm really glad you guys are here.
Thank you. We shall now begin with the questions. Clark Bird.
Gentlemen, this question's for all candidates. What is your top priority if elected to the board?
We'll begin with Mr. Cody.
My top priority is to get the people back involved with the Board of Commissioners office. Right now, it seems like there's a real struggle to take the people's voice out of what's going on over there at the Commissioner's office. From, you have to get on the agenda to be able to speak now. The agenda is a big process where you have to put in a 2-week notice just to come speak to your representatives. That's got to go away. We have to get the people's voice back in there. We need to start Skyping all the meetings so you can watch it at your own leisure. You can have it. You can have it on. You can have it on a website where you can go watch it and find out what's going on with your money. Furthermore, we've got to do something with the problems going on between our county seat and our county government right now. I think I'm uniquely qualified to do that. No one can get a grant in this community right now. That's one of my biggest priorities, is to make sure that we bridge that gap between the city and Clayton County, and I know that I can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Cody. Mr. Nichols.
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. What is your top priority if elected to the board?
My top priority as an elected official in Rabun County is to serve the people of Rabun County, not just one group, but all people throughout the county. And it does mean working with other municipalities and individuals, whatever it takes to best serve the county. The Board of Commissioners is a little different situation than running a business, or I say running a business. Most people look at it like, a lot of folks want to look at it like a business where you make money, but it's not necessarily that way. It's a service-based situation. The people of the county want to be served, and we need to serve them at an affordable rate where everybody can afford it.
Mr. Allred.
Thank you. All around us, you look around the mountains, all around us, communities are coming together to work to find new and creative ways to improve the life of their citizens. One community, Blairsville, just across the mountain over there, they were recently called out in Georgia Trend magazine for the excellent work they have done bridging the gap between the government and the non-government entities within the county. Another community in Douglas County has just loaded a bus up with 40 people, local community leaders. They're headed to Tennessee, to a little town up there called Franklin. It is known as America's favorite Main Street, one of the fastest growing cities in the South, one of the best places to live and raise children. They loaded those people up so they could go learn what was happening. They did it across the border. Community governments, local business leaders, and nonprofits all working together. And that's what I want to do. I want to bring that kind of leadership and cooperation to the county.
Thank you. Ms. Workheiser?
This is a question for all three of you. What is here we go.
Just speak up.
What is the Rabun County government's role in differentiating us from the rest of the small North Georgia towns seeking the same tourism dollars?
Mr. Nichols.
We have a lot to offer. We have a lot of federal land, popular with people. We just got a popular place to be, but as far as putting your finger on one thing, it's kind of hard to do. We also have to consider with all of what we're talking about here is there's a little more to Rabun County than just tourist dollars. And I think we have to consider that in whatever we do.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. Allred.
There are two parts to this answer. Number one is tourism is obviously a low-hanging fruit. We have worked at the Chamber of Commerce with other entities within the county such as the Tourism Development Association, both here in Clayton and in Millard and others, to make sure that we are attractive and available to those people. We advertise outside the county, and we work hard to make sure that tourists come here. It's sort of the easy solution to a community's problem. But more than that, we need to attract entrepreneurs and young families to Rabun County so that we can develop a true economic long-term base. And that's equally as important.
Mr. Cohey.
I think the biggest part's already been done. God made this the #1 county in the state of Georgia or in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I walked the gorge this Saturday, but no one can compete with that. When you talk about tourism, no one can compete with that. But I agree with what both these guys are saying. You've got to bring businesses in here that are tourist friendly. Not that we don't have tourist friendly businesses, but folks that come in here and they've got kids and everything else. And one of the things we've got to do with that is they don't want to come in and read in the Clayton Tribune that we're having a water fight amongst ourselves. The biggest thing, and I said it last week at the debate, and the Tribune found it to be true, we're losing jobs and we're losing businesses because of this water fight. It's got to come to an end. So that's where you start attacking that whole thing, from tourism to jobs to everything else. It all starts with us fighting. Stop fighting each other. Stop pulling money from one pocket to the other to pay for lawyers.
Thank you, Mr. Cohey. Clark.
This question is for candidate Nichols and Allred. What lessons were learned from the financial loss of the Tallulah Gorge Skywalk celebration that can be applied to the Tourism Development Authority's plans for a celebration of the upcoming eclipse?
We'll begin with Mr. Allred.
I think that accountability is extremely important, and when you're involved in the planning of something as large and as expensive as that event was, it just appeared to me that the commission did not get involved at a level that they should have been. Perhaps we could have mitigated some of the losses. I'm sure that we will claim great success from that event, as we should, and move forward with it. I hope that at least some of that money will pay off for us in the long run. But the county commission's involvement in those kind of events, I think, could help.
Mr. Nichols.
Just another situation where tourism is not the answer for everything. Sometimes it falls short. So we have to look at more things than just that and to move very carefully from here on out in situations like that.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
Let's give this baby a try. Hey, it's working. What is your vision of that? This is for all of you. What is your vision of Rabun County's future?
Mr. Cohey.
Rabun County's future is going to be just as bright as the past, as long as we watch what we're doing and stop fighting with each other, and we start coming together as a community. This community has the best people, the best land, and everything else, the best school system, and all we have to do is stop fighting amongst ourselves and come together. Our future looks bright. Our highway's fixing to expand. We have everything here to offer jobs from a great school system. You want to talk about folks that are moving here? They care. Everybody that comes here and brings a business here, they care about their kids and having a great education. They care about their kids and being raised with values. We've got all that here, and that our future is going to be bright, and it is anybody's future. We've got all the tools we need to build a strong community, and all we have to do is pull on the same rope together and stop pulling against each other. That's what it all boils down to.
Mr. Nichols.
Next question, please.
What is your vision of Rabun County's future?
When I become county commissioner, was elected the first time, this is not really what I picture myself doing sometimes. But I've got 2 children, and most all the investments I've made in my life has been right here in Rabun County. And so whatever I've got going forward rests in Rabun County. And I want to see it be all it can be and at an affordable rate. And that's what's important to me.
Mr. Allred.
One of my favorite expressions is progress or change is inevitable, but progress is optional. And if we don't plan for our change, what we will see is haphazard growth. It's coming. Things will change in this county. There's no denying it. It will happen. There's nothing we can do to prevent it. Whether the change is good or not depends on how well we plan how well we implement, and how well we work together. And again, it doesn't, I think there's no limit to what we can do if we work together and if we don't care who gets the credit.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, this question is for all candidates. Would you consider contracting with a commercial broker to lease the business park space, or do you advocate the current business model?
Mr. Nichols.
I would consider that. It would take a lot of research, looking through it. I'm not ruling anything out to bring a job opportunity to Rabun County. A good job that does not decrease our community.
Mr. Cohey.
I completely think that in some way you have to market that business part with somebody that has incentive to put folks in there. And that their pay is somewhat dependent on getting folks in there. So absolutely, whether it be a broker or real estate agents here in Rabun County, well, you've got to give people an incentive to bring business in here. And absolutely, what I would advocate to find any kind of business relationship like that.
Mr. Allred.
Yeah, all of the above. You do everything you can to lease the space. It's a challenge. You guys know that. When the decision was made in this county to take on that debt and to make that an opportunity, a growth opportunity, nobody predicted that this recession was going to hit us as hard and last as long as it has. So we couldn't foresee that. But we're in it, and we need to do everything we can, whether it's contracting out, use what we've got, just keep the pedal to the metal. And there is great incentive. Trust me, those guys feel the pressure up there every day. I work with them closely, and they feel the pressure. But it is a huge challenge.
This is a question for all three of you. What other boards, authorities, or organizations do you serve?
Mr. Allred.
Wow. Well, I'm obviously president of the Rabun County Chamber of Commerce, where I'm very pleased to hold that position and to work hard for this community. And as a member of that organization, I get out a lot and work closely with a number of organizations. I have been an integral part of Trout Unlimited here, been their treasurer, been a member of that organization. I have worked with Community Partnership here. I worked with Community Pantry here, and I am a student minister for about the last 10 years. Have that on my resume as well.
Mr. Cohey.
I am a member of the Rabun County Water and Sewer Authority. That's the only board locally.
Mr. Nichols.
I had come off the Development Authority Board just a few months ago. Right now, no other board other than I had just come off the Development Authority Board a few months ago. I'm on no other boards than Board of Commissioners.
Okay, Mr. Cohey, this question is for you. How will your experience as Clayton's appointee on the Rabun County Water and Sewer Authority benefit you as a commissioner? And if elected, would you be stepping down from that authority?
Absolutely, I'll be stepping down from that authority. And I think that makes me uniquely qualified because I've seen it from both sides. I've seen, the animosity from both angles. I went from a water authority meeting where I was outvoted by everybody just about in there to a city council meeting where they weren't really happy with me either. Because I can see the middle ground, and so I definitely believe I've got a great working relationship with the mayor of the city of Clayton and with every council member with the city of Clayton. I've been appointed twice by the city of Clayton, but also it takes more than just the city of Clayton. I can work good with other commissioners and also the city of Dillard's council people, the city of Sky Valley's council people, the city of Blue Falls. I know folks all throughout our community that I know we can bring together because it's going to be more than just Clayton and the county need to come together. We all have to come together.
This is a question for all three of you. What is your suggested remedy for the current stalemate between Rabun County and the city of Clayton regarding the water service delivery strategy?
Mr. Nichols.
This has been an ongoing situation. Somewhat, I guess it's a stumbling block for me when you look at the lawsuits that the city suffers monthly. and trying to be good stewards of what we have in this county, that's can be very difficult for me to see past as far as working together. That's something that needs to be corrected for us all to move forward. So we've run into a situation a time or two where it hurt us in the process of getting grants, which where we're at right now is back to that because we do not have the ability to seek grants.
Mr. Allred.
This is one of those situations where Rabun County has become a microcosm of the larger world. We have sides who have chosen up. They have drawn hard lines in the sand, and it doesn't appear that compromise is on the horizon. I've not been a part of those discussions to this point. I have studied it and looked at it, and it is my belief that the only way to change that, to make improvement in that, is to change some of the faces at the table. If you get some new people with some new ideas who are willing to compromise and work with others, I think that we can make progress. And we have to make progress. It needs to be done.
Mr. Cohey.
First thing you have to start with is communication. That's not going on right now. The only communication is going to be between the lawyers, the current track. The county and the city of Clayton have got to come to the table together. And if it takes, if I'm elected, me and Jordan Green back there locking ourselves in a room until we come up with a solution that works for everybody, then that's what we do. But you have to communicate because we're on the same team, and it's not like it's us versus ISIS or us versus even Alabama or Tennessee. We're on the same boat, guys, and we're putting holes in our own boat.
Thank you.
This is a question for Mr. Allred and Mr. Cohey. What is the strength of the Board of Commissioners and what is its weakness?
Mr. Cohey.
The strength is I think every one of those guys are good guys. They were raised very well. I think that they have what they believe is the best decisions. They've made the best decisions, and I don't think there's any malice. I think they're strong Christian men. The weakness is, for whatever reason, they have decided that they want to go down the route of not communicating with the people and not communicating with other entities. Like I said, when you've got the county essentially bullying the county seat here out of their SPLOST dollars, I mean, think about that for just a minute. Folks walk into a business establishment on a sidewalk in the city of Clayton, and they pay SPLOST money, and then the county decides at the courthouse that they're not going to give any of that money back to that city. That's wrong. That's dead wrong.
Mr. Allred.
I agree that the strength of our commission lies in the honesty and integrity of the people who are there. They do a good job of managing the money. They have, over the past few years, been able to build up our treasury quite well. So we are financially in very good condition. Their weakness lies in what they don't do. I have been in a number of initiatives in the last few years with the Chamber of Commerce where we reached out to other organizations to try to make progress, to communicate, to talk. Really hard to get somebody from the commission to come to those meetings and attend, much less lead them, which is what they should be doing.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols, would you like 30 seconds to rebut either of those claims? Clark.
Okay. Commissioner Nichols, this question's for you. What is your greatest accomplishment as a sitting commissioner?
Well, been commissioner over the last 7 years. I think Rabun County's came through some very difficult times. That's not necessarily due to me. That's due to good board members, good department heads, and a community that have worked together. And I think, to me, that's one of the greatest things we've accomplished. I would love to see a water system in Rabun County that serves everyone in Rabun County. We need to be looking at the whole county, not just a group of people, but try to serve everyone in the county. And whatever we do, that's my goal, and I think we've tried to do that as a board of commissioners.
This is a question for all three of you. As a commissioner, you are a representative of the people's voice. However, not every decision will please everybody. Tell us how you'll make difficult decisions and how will you deal with criticism that might follow.
Mr. Allred.
If you've been in business for a long time, if you've been successful in business, you always deal with difficult decisions and you always have criticism for what you do. I've discovered over my life that there's not always one correct answer for every problem. You can make pretty much most things work if you're working together and you really are working toward a goal. I just think that, Cricket, was there more to that question?
Just how you'll make difficult decisions and how you will deal with what criticism.
Yeah, I don't worry about the criticism. We make the best decisions we can and we let the chips fall where they may.
Mr. Cohey.
I think that the office we're seeking, there are going to be critical decisions that need to be made, and there are going to be folks that aren't happy with it. The main thing is you got to listen to their side of it, and you got to take the time to listen to them. And if you really do that, and they felt like they've been listened to, most folks aren't going to be too critical of it, because everybody has a difference of opinion. That's not an issue. No one's ever going to agree 100% on everything, no matter who you are. But if you listen to them and you hear them out, and they feel like they have a voice in their government, then they're going to be fine.
Mr. Nichols.
Repeat the question, please.
As a commissioner, you are a representative of the people's voice. However, not every decision will please everybody. Tell us how you'll make difficult decisions and how you will deal with what criticism might follow.
That's certainly a part of the job. My mindset is, if you're making everybody happy, you're lying to somebody. So, criticism, that's part of the job, fellas. That's all I can tell you. And that's just part of it. You have to move forward. And you have to choose to work with people, even when you disagree with them on one subject, but you move forward on another one and do what's best for the people of the county.
That brings us to the end of our question and answer time. We'll now move on to closing statements, beginning with the incumbent, Will Nichols.
I just like to say I appreciate each and every one coming out tonight. I'm no glamorous speaker, nor a glamorous person. But I love Rabun County. I love the people of the county. I want to do what's best for the county. And, you know, that's the bottom line. I don't want to be your commissioner. I want to be your neighbor. When I say that, I'm no better than anybody in this room. And if you want to vote for me, I appreciate it. And I'll do my best to serve you. And if you elect me as county commissioner, I will do my best to conduct the business of the county. That's kind of some of this stuff we've got into lately with this. The public feels like they're not listened to or not being fairly treated about these meetings. A public meeting is a public meeting. I was elected to take care of county business. That's what I need to do when I come into a public meeting, is take care of business. It's that simple. And I appreciate your support. I hope to get your vote. And I love Rabun County.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. Allred.
Thank you. Thank you guys again for coming out here. It's an honor to even run for this position. I truly believe that Rabun County can be great. I said 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when the financial crunch really hit the skids and our unemployment rate was so high. I said, you know, this economy will come back, but if we don't have a good plan, we'll be the last to know. And if you travel around the mountains and look in the other communities, you'll see growth everywhere. We've got growth here. We've got a lot of people making good investments in Rabun County, finally. But we are about the last to know. I have great optimism that will continue. I want to be a part of that growth. I want to be a part of the county coming together to create opportunities for entrepreneurs and young families to move here. I want us to work hard on tourism, and I want us to work hard to fill that building in the northern part of the county. That's what I stand for. I believe in open government. I promise you that I'm accessible, and I look forward to serving you.
Mr. Cohey.
I want to again thank everybody for being here. You know, if I'm lucky enough to be elected commissioner, I can't wait to get to work to bridge the gap between the city of Clayton and the county. And I also can't wait to bridge the gap between the county and the folks that are out there listening and the ones paying the bills. Guys, we've made, in my view, some bad investments here lately. We've got some empty buildings that are sitting costing us millions of dollars. And yet our county employees can't even get their family benefits paid for. They're having to leave and go somewhere else. That's got to come to a stop. We got to start making better decisions. And that's what I'm running. That's my platform. And I really would appreciate your vote and your prayers. And thank you for coming tonight.
This concludes the Clayton Tribune's debate for Rabun County Commissioner Post 1. We would like to thank Mr. Nichols, Mr. Allred, and Mr. Cohey for their participation. Special thanks again to panelists Cricket Werkheiser and Clark Bird, our live audience, and those viewing on our live stream.
There was 11 on that one. We had 21 on the sheriff.
Well, the other chance I say is you like having to speak up louder in this role. It's like a piano is PA. Because I saw you going, wait, what?
Yeah, they really tuned in for the sheriff. There was 21 in top.
You could. What about him?
I need my charger.
Right left. Just be, put them. Are we moving back? Or you want to stay like this?
We can stay like this and put those two right there.
Okay, put them right there. Camille, you're gonna go right there. Just kind of scoot back. If it's needed, we'll motion you up. You're Richard's ears if needed.
I don't know. We're gonna have to see how much of a charge I get.
We already talked about this.
It barely made it.
Well, you've got to be right in his ear if he's having a hard time. I could adjust now, but I wish he came to me. No. We talked about a week ago. You said okay, cool.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
No. We're still live on the mic.
I tell you, when you're out in the short valley,
You look great in pink. You look great in pink.
I won't know where I am.
Anybody who's got an existing
You know it's not.
They're saying it's shade through.
Yeah.
But different but it's the city's light. I remember all that. Mom was
Can you actually listen?
No, not really. Not talking about third.
Yeah, I was gonna say now they said that Dixon lost it. Boston televised, and Dixon was sweating.
The feed is live again.
Huh?
The feed is live again.
We're live, so we're not muted, is what you're telling me. Huh?
The feed's live again.
Why is it on me?
Because it's right there.
Live so early. Or at least you're good for now. The city's over there with bated breath. See if I can plug this to at work. You ready?
Right there's fine.
Good? Cool. Good evening. And it once again fails me when I close to my belt.
They're not behaving very well.
Good evening. Y'all have heard this before, but my name is Kevin Shields, as publisher of the Clayton Tribune. I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 Republican primary debate for County Commissioner Post 2 between incumbent Dr. Stephen Arbeiter and challenger Richard Powers. I'll be your moderator this evening with panelist Clark Bird of the Clayton Tribune and community extraordinaire Cricket Werkheiser. The format for this debate is just like all of the rest this evening in a traditional format. In order to provide as much information as possible, candidates have been given 1 minute time limit on all answers, opening statements, and closing statements. 30 seconds will be given for rebuttals if the situation arises. We will begin with the opening statements. Dr. Arbeiter?
I guess we can sit down for this deal since, can everybody hear me okay? Everybody hear me all right? Is this good? Excellent. Louder? I just want to thank y'all for being here tonight. It's a great crowd at all the events we've had so far. I want to thank Richard. He and I have had a good time doing this so far, and I'm 100% convinced that no matter the outcome of this, people of Rabun County are going to be served well. I was born here in Rabun County and chose to live here, which is really what I always wanted to do. And one of the reasons why I decided to run for this position is I want my children to have that same opportunity. I know many of the things that we do have a bearing on that. So I try to keep that in mind in every decision we make. I try to be pretty even-handed with how we deliberate with different departments. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to meet with 35 different boards and departments, from EMS to all across the board. So my priorities this term will be public safety and jobs.
Thank you, Dr. Albrighter. Mr. Powers?
Before I start, I have a confession to make. I'm extremely hard of hearing. That's the reason my wife is up here to translate. I thought long and hard before I decided to run because of my hearing problem. But I'm told the county courthouse has facilities so that I will be able to hear and I will be able to function. I'm Richard Powers. I'm a retired firefighter from Macon, Georgia. I came to Rabun County as soon as I possibly could. I've been a full-time resident for 19 years. I got into this because I found myself complaining about a number of different issues. And I don't feel like I have the right to complain if I'm not willing to stand up and try to do something about it. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the opportunity to come and state my position. And I thank you all for it. It's been very pleasant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. We'll now move on to the questions from Ms. Werkheiser.
What is your top priority if elected to the board?
Dr. Albrighter.
Yes, top priorities that I appreciate the Clay Tribune asking that question because for me, and I sat down and thought about it, we are going to be meeting with 35 departments and boards over the next couple of weeks. All the places that the Board of Commissioners have sway and support. But for me, really and truly, is public safety and jobs. And many of those different boards across the spectrum have influence over jobs, whether we're talking about the golf course or the senior center, but in particular, seeing that we get the development authority to be self-sustaining, if not profitable. We can't have all our eggs in one basket. Right now, we have so much tourism and whatnot. It's beautiful, but you can't have everything being tourism. We have to have some manufacturing jobs. We have to have other things. Even right now, we just don't have much at all. So I'd like to see more of those things happen, and particularly see public safety, the sheriff's department really needs some more help. They do a great job. Same with the EMS. Same with
Thank you, Dr. Albrighter. You've reached your time.
Thank you.
Okay. This question.
My top priority is trying to get the development authority to pay its own way. Trying to get several of the things that we have, the arena to break even. That's costing the taxpayers in the neighborhood, I'm not exact on this, around $100,000 a year. We need to either find a way to cut the expenses or get more participation and better paying participation. I don't think there's any lack of effort. I think they're doing everything they can. It's a beautiful facility, but we need to make it stand on its own in a number of different issues right now.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Okay, gentlemen, this question's for both of you. What is the Rabun County government's role in differentiating us from the rest of the small North Georgia towns seeking the same tourism dollars?
Mr. Powers.
I'm not sure I understood.
Can you repeat that?
Yes. What is the Rabun County government's role in differentiating us from the rest of the small North Georgia towns seeking the same tourism dollars?
Well, we have the Tourism Development Authority. I feel like they do a pretty good job, but we need for them to cooperate with some of our facilities to make them a little more efficient. That's part of what I was alluding to a while ago. The tourism authority, if they can work with the arena and try to bring in more quality events. We have some events that are one day and take up the whole weekend. It seems like to me that the more cooperation we can get between the development authority, the tourism authority, the arena, and everything else, the better off we are.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. Dr. Arbeiter?
I agree 100% with what Richard's saying along those deals. How to differentiate ourselves from our neighbors. We've had a perfect example just in this past week. I went to a tourism development authority meeting just prior to this, and just announced that for the first time in forever, there's a coordinated effort between all the cities in the county to bring anglers and diners, I might get the name wrong, so don't quote me on that, to come to film some episodes for a fishing network this summer. And all the different cities have kicked in, and I think the Tourism Development Authority is doing a good job of working to promote all the cities in addition to the county to help celebrate our lakes, our mountains. We have so many different things here, from whitewater rafting to fishing, that do differentiate ourselves from our neighbors, and that's where we're at.
Thank you.
This is a question for Dr. Arbeiter. What lessons were learned from the financial loss of the Tallulah Gorge Skywalk celebration that can be applied to the Tourism Development Authority's plans for a celebration of the upcoming eclipse?
First and foremost, not to have such, well, the eclipse is coming, all right? It's coming whether or not a TV deal is in the works or not. So let's start with that. Beyond that, planning something that is going to be within the scope of what our facilities can handle, what our people can handle. The Tourism Development Authority has announced what we're going to do for this event is mostly just be a disseminator of information, talking with all interested parties and making sure a very well visited exploreRaven.com. If y'all have never been on it, you should check it out. It's really a great resource for all things Raven County. Whether any of the cities have events, whether individual businesses or people have events, let the Tourism Development Authority know, and we'll use our contacts to get the word out around the world.
Thank you.
Okay. Candidates, this question is for both of you. What is your vision of Rabun County's future?
Mr. Powers?
I'm pretty much at a total loss. I didn't know what the tourism authority lost on that.
This is a different question. That one was just for me. That one was just for me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Ask
Clark,
Yeah.
repeat the question.
Sure. What is your vision of Rabun County's future?
Mr. Powers?
Your vision.
Personally, I'd like to, for Rabun County, to keep the identity that we have. It's a small community. It's friends. We know people. We see. We love people. We have a very loving, generous, kind population. We have beautiful surroundings. I want to see growth, but I want to see the growth for the people who live in Rabun County. I don't want to see Rabun County as a suburb of Atlanta, like a lot of the small towns west of Atlanta have become. I would like to see us stay as close to the beauty and kindness and loving that we have right now.
Thank you. Dr. Arbeiter?
My vision for Rabun County is to continue to be where spring spends the summer. Fortunately, we are surrounded by national forests, state parks, and Georgia Power Land that for the foreseeable future is going to protect us from expansive growth. That's our challenge years. We have our beauty, but our physical limitations. We have a large county for our departments to patrol, but a smaller tax base. What I'd like to see Rabun County is be just exactly the way it is right now, just with more jobs.
This is for both of you. Would you consider contracting with a commercial broker to lease the business park space, or do you advocate the current business model?
Dr. Arbeiter?
Of course, the risks of working with a commercial broker is you could put it out there. We'll give you your percentage for anybody that can rent the business park out. The problem is you take all comers, and we want to with the development authority board that we have there now, they have the ability to find out, is this a Johnny come lately business, or is this one that's going to be here to stay? Are these going to be good jobs? Are they going to be minimum wage jobs? Hopefully even with a broker, we'd be able to keep some final say in who we allow to come and rent our space. But growth is going to come. It has come. I love to see what the groups that are there now are expanding. There's some very exciting contacts right now that really would be a game changer. But I wouldn't be against it.
Mr. Powers?
I definitely would consider that in most any other proposal that would get the business park where it was not costing us in the neighborhood of $1 million a year. I would consider a proposal if anybody was interested in buying the business park. We need to look at where we are right now. We borrowed, we paid $4 million for the business park. We paid $4 million for the business park. That's the land, the building, and the insurance. Then we borrowed $15 million to renovate it. Well, $15 million paid for it and renovate it. Then we borrowed $1.7 million to pay the payments on what we just borrowed. Okay, well, but that's $15 million total. We wound up today, we owe $24 million on something that we paid $15 million for.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Okay. Gentlemen, this question's for both. What other boards, authorities, or organizations do you serve with?
Mr. Powers?
I currently don't serve on anything. I'm the founder of Richard's Kids. I serve on the board of directors of Richard's Kids. I was a volunteer firefighter here until it got to the point that my hearing was so bad I felt like I was a danger to them and myself. But other than Richard's Kids, that's the only board that I'm serving on at this moment.
Dr. Arbeiter?
Currently, I'm the Post 2 County Commissioner, which takes up most of my time. I serve as a volunteer for Rabun Paws for Life. I serve in the Rabun County Bank Board of Directors currently. So those are my three areas right now where I currently serve.
This is a question for Richard. What is your experience that has prepared you to become a commissioner?
Mainly my experience is the way I've had to handle my personal finances all my life. I had to work very long and very hard to have anything. And I had to make priorities. I had to, if I was gonna have anything, I had to look, is this really what I want? Is it worth giving something else for? And I basically had to live within my means. And I feel like all governments need to do the same thing. We need to live within our means. We don't need to buy everything we want and then raise the taxes to cover it. We need to stop and think before anything is done or bought. The taxpayers getting their money for it.
Okay, this question is for both candidates. What is your suggested remedy for the current stalemate between Rabun County and the city of Clayton regarding the water service delivery strategy?
Dr. Arbiter.
I think the solution is just within reach. I mean, we're real close in December. We agreed in principle with the lawyers that were there to discuss it, and everything seemed to be pretty good. And at the last minute, it just didn't quite make it. I think that in the end, we'll just have to sit down and it looks like figure out who actually paid for what, and when we figure out what is county assets versus city assets, figure out what that means as far as a service delivery strategy. For those that aren't aware of what that means, we have to have for water, sewer, different things like that for the county. All the other service strategies are all well and good. We just have to finish these up between the city and the county. And I think we'll get there. I think Darren's going to do a good job of continuing to work with the parties and work hard and figure out what's best for both parties.
Thank you. Mr. Powers?
Well, I think we need to start with a fresh sheet of paper. I've heard what this one did, what this one, the other did, and it's not good for anybody to have two governments at war with each other. It's not good for tourism. That's one of our biggest industry, and that's where we're getting the most publicity right now. We need to start completely over. One government can't threaten the other government. We've got to sit down and make sure that everybody, it's got to be a compromise. Nobody's going to get exactly what they want. But right now, everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt because everybody's kind of stubborn right now. It's going to take some new ideas. It's going to take starting completely over. You can't go back to what we didn't work. We got to start over.
Thank you.
This is for both of you. What would you like to see the Board of Commissioners accomplish in 2017?
Mr. Powers?
I would like to see us, number one, begin to fill up the Development Authority building or the old Cruiser Road building. I'd like to see it begin to stand on its own. I would like to see the other, I keep saying the arena, I would like to see us be able to utilize it and it not cost the taxpayers money. This is a nice facility, it seems to be well run, but it shouldn't cost the taxpayers of Rabun County as much as it costs. I mean, their budget is about $142,000 a year, and I'm not sure what it brings in, but it's in the neighborhood of $40,000. I believe it can almost sustain itself and probably can sustain itself in the future.
Dr. Arbuckle.
Hopefully by 2017, some of these problems will be resolved. Hopefully we'll have a service delivery strategy. Hopefully we'll have a self-sustaining client in the development authority paying the bills. Hopefully the arena will continue to grow. Some of these things that we're talking about, and I personally can't take any credit for what Steve Cade has done out at the arena other than supporting them. But when I first started, 6 out of 52 weekends were all that were taken up. I think this past year, 50 out of 52 weekends were full of events. So there's lots of good things. So what I would like to see in 2017 is that we continue to keep a budget that stays on track, that we don't have to raise the millage rate. I think 8 out of 9 years we've been without a raise, just that 1-2 years ago. I'd like to see that everybody continues to watch their pennies and have a budget that stays where it's at.
Thank you.
This is a question for Mr. Powers. What is the strength of the Board of Commissioners and what is its weakness?
Its strength is the people in Rabun County. We have a population that is just fantastic. Its weakness is not listening always. There's been some conversation about, and I can understand part of it, about limiting the comments before the meeting. And I understand that has to be controlled at some point. But I believe you got to give everybody an opportunity to speak. You may have to limit it to once. They don't get back up. You may have to limit a time limit. But I feel like everybody should have a voice in county government. But the people that we're working with and the people we govern that we have, the employees we have, are super.
Dr. Arbeiter, this question is for you. What is your greatest accomplishment as a sitting commissioner?
It's so hard to take credit for anything, when you just have people working in the different departments that do so much good. The one I'm personally the most proud of would have to be what's happened with Rabun Paws for Life. Starting from nothing with $2,000 in the bank, growing to be one of the few nationally open admission, no-kill shelters that is run by a municipality, both animal control and humane society. The 98%, 99% live release for both dogs and cats as a true number, not a fudged number, is absolutely phenomenal. And that's due to the work and the love and the help of the people in Rabun County and my small role as CEO there before I step down would have to be the thing I'm most proud of.
Okay. And this question is for both of you. In what ways will you be accessible to the public?
Mr. Powers.
Well, I'll be about the same as what we have now. I will publish my cell phone. I will meet with anybody, anytime, and answer any questions. I feel like if you're going to be a public servant, you've got to listen to what the public has to say.
Dr. Arbeiter.
Well, I can tell you that I answer my emails, I answer my phone calls during the day when I'm working. I may have to call back later at night, but I do answer those. I go to a lot of public events around town where I get to talk to people. Do make myself available before and after commission meetings. But once a quarter, I meet either at Clayton Cafe or Clayton Pharmacy to meet with concerned citizens and just listen to the things they have to say. And one of whether it's certainly not a huge forum or anything like that, but certainly anybody that has questions or comments, I invite them to join us at those Saturday meetings and listen to their concerns. Don't always agree with them.
We will now move on to closing statements. Dr. Arbeiter.
I just want to thank Richard for his wisdom and willingness to serve, and everybody that's here for your interest in the community, as is mine. I think we've got a nice, cohesive group to work with, even though we don't agree with each other all the time on the board. Never a crossword between us, and I can promise you that for my part that will continue to be the case. That I will listen. Sometimes my answer won't agree with yours, but I will do the best to my ability to find the best thing for Rabun County, and I'm going to give it my all for 4 more years. And fortunate that I have a good staff that can cover for me when I do all these things, and just hope you'll consider voting for me.
Mr. Powers.
Well, first of all, I'm asking for your vote. I realize I do not have all the answers. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need suggestions. I solicit your opinion, your advice. I'm new. I've never attempted to run for any public office before in my life. So I'm sure I'm gonna make some mistakes, and I worried a lot before I started. But I know that you can't please everybody, and I know some people are getting mad, and I don't want that. That's not the way I live. But I know that it takes it somehow. But I'm gonna listen. Maybe like Steve, I may not agree with you all the time, but I will listen. Thank you.
This concludes the Clayton Tribune's debate for Rabun County Commissioner Post 2. It also concludes tonight's debates. Be sure to join us tomorrow at 5:45 for the Mountain Judicial Circuit District Attorney debate, followed by the Georgia State House of Representatives District 8 debate. Special thank you for Dr. Arbeiter and Mr. Powers for their participation, as well as all the hard work. And I'm just going to throw in a little selfish one. Thank you to my staff for putting this together. It's something that we've never done before on the scale they have. And these folks, Debbie and Camille and Megan and you, Matt and Clark, have just put their heart and soul into it and made my life a lot easier. Also, thank you to Cricket Organizer for taking the call from 2 months, been here, publisher, and saying, absolutely, I'm all in. She joined us tonight. Tomorrow night, some people from other areas of the districts being represented will be joining us. So, and thank you to all of y'all. When I looked out and looked behind me, that was insane. So, thank you so much, and congratulations. You didn't have to. You didn't have to.